We have created a short video to symbolize the excitement for President Trump across all 50 states and territories. Thank you for watching. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
God doesn't exist. How many times do I have to say it?
The great state of Alabama.
Alaska.
Whoa, that's terrifying.
Arkansas, California, Colorado.
We're excited to nominate
Donald J. Trump and Vice President Mike Pence.
4 more years. Thank you for all you've done to make America great.
I didn't back down from my promises, and I've kept every single one.
Except repealing Obamacare, building a wall and having Mexico pay for it, locking up Hillary Clinton, getting our troops out of the Middle East, and much more.
This current administration had made hope possible.
We want this nation to continue to be the beacon of hope for the world.
We haven't been that for a while now. In fact, we've kind of been the laughingstock of the developed world because we don't even have common sense policies like single-payer healthcare systems.
How many people said they're going to leave America if Donald Trump was elected? They're all still here, and they're not going anywhere.
Because the ones who stand to benefit the most by leaving can't afford transportation.
Because we are in the land of the free.
We will never, ever sign bad trade. America first. Again, America first.
America's great USMCA trade bill. This is a big win for the United States of America. This is a great trade deal.
The economic difference of the USMCA compared to NAFTA is essentially negligible.
We are going to lift the restrictions on the production of American energy.
That means fucking over the environment, which means it will be great in the short term, terrible in the long run.
We will create millions of more jobs.
The job growth rate was higher under Obama than it was under Trump.
Hope to me is the belief in a better tomorrow and creating a better future for our children.
When I look in the eyes of my grandchildren, I want them to know that their papa was not silent.
Now that's what I call a good platitude.
We will rescue kids from failing schools by helping their parents send them to a safe school of their choice.
What about the other children still stuck at the failing schools? Do they just get to rot?
We will completely rebuild our depleted military. The countries that we are protecting at a massive cost to us will be asked to pay their fair share.
Our depleted military had the budget of the next 9 countries combined. Then you raised it up to 11. Do we really need to spend that much money? And if your allies aren't willing to pay for your protection, then why don't you just send the troops home?
We will take care of our great veterans.
So says everybody.
Like they have never been taken care of before.
This guy saved me.
Yeah.
He saved me.
I don't care about your anecdote.
To me, he's giving people hope. What he's doing for the poor people.
What he's doing to millions of poor people is removing them from the insurance programs.
What he's doing for everybody.
We are going to appoint justices of the United States Supreme Court who will uphold our laws and our Constitution.
Yes, that's literally the job description.
Why supporting law enforcement is so important for keeping America great.
If you really cared about law enforcement, you'd stop forcing them to be all-purpose service units, and you can retrain them to be not so trigger-happy.
As long as I'm president, I will never defund your police, that I promise you. It's time to deliver a victory for the American people. We are going to start winning again.
Like the Democrats, who are doing all in their power to make sure America loses.
It's called promises made, promises kept.
Then get us out of the fucking Middle East.
My name is Amy Ford. I've been a registered nurse for 17 years.
Don't give a shit about you.
President Trump recognized the threat this virus presented for all Americans early on.
And then proceeded to play it down until April.
And made rapid policy changes. And as a result, telehealth services are now accessible to more than 71 million Americans, including 35 million children. Prior to COVID, telehealth was not covered or reimbursed under Medicare, Medicaid, or CHIP.
Prior to Trump, Joe Biden established a pandemic task force which would have been very useful, except Trump disbanded it.
This left our most vulnerable populations with no other choice but to have an in-person office visit with their physicians, increasing their risk of exposure to COVID-19 exponentially. The expansion of telehealth services has also resulted in the integration of video visits between patients and their families, allowing loved ones to have contact and visualization, as well as a better understanding of care. Telehealth has been essential during this pandemic. I don't want the media taking my personal story and twisting it, so let me be clear. As a healthcare professional, I can tell you without hesitation, Donald Trump's quick action and leadership saved thousands of lives during COVID-19.
Hundreds of thousands of lives were also needlessly lost as well.
And the benefits of that response extend far beyond coronavirus. Telehealth will continue to aid many that are just unable to find transportation or a way to the doctor for regular checkups. This is especially true in rural America. I live in a town of about 2,000 people. We do not have buses, trains, trolleys, or Ubers available to us.
Maybe because the free market decided it wasn't profitable enough to do that. Oh well, you suffer.
In addition, the unavailability of services can also hinder treatment for many.
Great. In all the governments with universal health care, 0 people die annually from lack of access to health care.
So increased access to telehealth for millions of Americans has truly been life-saving. And we have President Trump to thank.
Thank you, President Trump, for learning a lesson that any other president in your situation would also have learned.
From the very beginning, Democrats, the media, and the World Health Organization got coronavirus wrong. The World Health Organization said, authorities have found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission.
Overall, most people should not be terribly concerned about.
Donald Trump kept downplaying the virus long after everybody else had stopped.
Everything's fine here. We do want to say to people, come to Chinatown. Here we are. Come join us.
Do you not get that China and Chinatown are different? Or are you too caught up in your racist belief that Chinese people spread the virus?
We don't even think it's going to be as bad as it was in other countries.
Go about your lives, go about your business.
So Democrats made a few mistakes, and then they corrected themselves. You, on the other hand, kept downplaying the virus long after everybody else started taking it seriously.
One leader took decisive action to save lives. President Donald Trump. Banning travel from China and coronavirus epicenters. Biden charged xenophobia, but President Trump was right.
There is no evidence whatsoever that blocking China was effective for anything other than political moves for you.
Signing the CARES Act, providing immediate relief to American families, workers, and businesses.
This is how much money other countries gave their citizens for coronavirus. And this is how much America gave. The good news is you can share the blame with the Democrats for this. The bad news is CARES Act was a corporatist bailout designed to prop up big businesses and billionaires while giving the everyday American people crumbs.
Declaring a national emergency, tapping into $42 billion in existing emergency funding, quickly getting crucial personal protective equipment to the states.
Even now, we have shortages of those.
Signing the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, ensuring that American families and businesses impacted by the virus receive the strong support they need.
The act does provide free coronavirus testing. Unfortunately, other countries provide free coronavirus care.
Launching Operation Warp Speed to fast-track a vaccine in record time.
as any other president in your position would.
He said everything that I could have hoped for. Promise made, promise kept.
He is ready, willing, and able to help. He has been responsive. He's done a lot of good things. What the federal government did was a phenomenal accomplishment.
Somehow I don't believe this is the right context for everything.
In our hour of need, you all literally are helping us in a big way. We were at the edge, and this is life or death stuff, and we're forever thankful for that.
Oh look, masks, like the things that Donald Trump refused to wear, and due to that, all of his followers refused to wear, meaning millions of Americans got infected and hundreds of thousands died. Yeah.
Soon, we will emerge safer, stronger, and greater than ever.
Are you forgetting the times Donald Trump told people to inject bleach, or when he peddled hydroxychloroquine as a miracle cure-all?
I am Dr. G.E. Ghali, an oral and maxillofacial surgeon and chancellor of a large academic medical and research center in Louisiana. I feel uniquely positioned to share how President Trump's decisive leadership led to a rapid and efficient response to the coronavirus pandemic.
Like when he called coronavirus a hoax and said it would go away in April?
I know this as a health professional and as someone who has recovered from COVID himself. The COVID-19 pandemic exploded into our great nation with an intensity unparalleled in history.
Black Death, anyone?
But our medical investigation and drug development systems were not designed for a pandemic.
If only Trump's predecessors established a sort of pandemic task force for dealing with such issues.
The devastating effects of the coronavirus demanded immediate changes at the regulatory level. A prompt response led by President Trump.
First confirmed case of coronavirus occurred in January in the United States. Yet it took Trump until March to make any semblance of meaningful action, and he kept downplaying it for months afterwards. That is not what I call prompt.
Cleared away the red tape that usually makes drug approvals a long and drawn-out process.
As anybody would have done.
By harnessing the resources of the federal government and the private sector.
Shouldn't even exist. The company Gilead took $6.5 billion in federal funding to create the treatment drug remdesivir. Full treatment of remdesivir costs around $10 to create and distribute to patients. And yet, in the private industry, it is somehow acceptable for Gilead to charge $4,500 for treatment. That's a 45,000% profit margin for a company that already got $6.5 billion in federal tax money.
President Trump's Operation Warp Speed is accelerating the testing, supply, development, and distribution of therapeutics, diagnostics, and very shortly, effective vaccines to counter COVID-19. Let me give you 3 clear examples of how President Trump's leadership removed regulatory barriers so COVID patients could have faster access to effective therapies and diagnostics.
Any president would have done that.
First, on February 26, 2 phase 3 clinical trials studying remdesivir were initiated. Just 2 months later, the FDA approved remdesivir for emergency use to treat COVID-19. Normally, this is a 3 to 5 year process. The amazing speed with which this happened in a safe but efficient manner is unheard of.
Meanwhile, President Trump was promoting a quack cure in the form of hydroxychloroquine.
Second, the FDA granted expanded access to COVID-19 convalescent plasma. Within 24 hours of this approval, we were administering convalescent plasma and remdesivir to a critically ill patient.
Before those injections, Trump suggested that people inject bleach or alcohol into their bloodstream to cure the coronavirus.
And third, at the end of July, I developed a fever and cough.
I don't give a shit about your personal story.
As a physician, I've seen firsthand how these breakthroughs have saved countless lives.
Funny how you didn't mention the long lines and millions of Americans that were unable to get quick testing.
As a patient, I've benefited from the expedited therapies made possible by the swift action of this administration.
Helps when you're a well-known figure with a lot of wealth and power. The everyday American, though, has to wait in line behind everybody else.
President Trump truly moved mountains to save lives, and he deserves credit. Thank you, President Trump, for providing timely access to critical diagnostics and therapeutics during this pandemic. Thank you, Mr. President, for your strong leadership in these challenging times.
Fuck you, corporate shill.
When the China virus invaded our country, we launched the greatest mobilization of American society since World War II. Patriots of every race, color, and creed rallied together to defeat the invisible enemy.
Patriotism has nothing to do with it. It's human decency.
And save the lives of their fellow citizens. Today, our hearts overflow with appreciation for the incredible frontline workers who risk their own health and safety to keep America strong and safe. When crisis came, millions of everyday Americans rose to the challenge. In their actions, we see true greatness of the American character.
There is no single American character.
We always find a way to victory.
We literally have the most corona deaths in the world, and our per capita numbers aren't quite great either. Compare that to most of Europe, New Zealand, and a lot of the East Asian countries. Most of them are more densely packed than America, yet most of them are doing better than we are. And one thing they all share is they have a Medicare for all system.
History will remember and celebrate the heroes of 2020 for as long as our great American flag waves over the land that we love.
And you will be remembered as the villain who forced the American heroes to spring into action.
To every frontline worker, I offer the salute of a nation that is forever in your debt.
America is in debt to everything and everyone.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
This God bless America thing is even more rampant in the RNC than the DNC.
These are my friends. These are the incredible workers that helped us so much with the COVID. We can call it many different things, from China virus. I don't want to go through all the names because some people may get insulted, but that's the way it is.
It's not that it's insulting, it's the fact that you're using that as a way to deflect blame away from yourself for allowing this to happen and onto China.
These are great, great people. Doctors, nurses, firemen, policemen. We want to thank you all. You have been incredible, and we want to thank you and all of the millions of people that you represent. Thank you all very much. Great job. Thank you. Thank you all very much. So tell me a little about your story.
Why are both parties so obsessed with personal anecdotes?
Believe me, we're not getting rid of our postal workers, you know. They'd like to sort of put that out there. If anyone does, it's the Democrats, not the Republicans.
Oh, my God.
We have delivered billions of dollars of equipment that governors were supposed to give, and in many cases, they didn't get. So the federal government had to help them, and all of the people that did this incredible work, they never got credit for it. But you understand where it came from.
Who would have known that production based on a strong central government planning could work? Looks like you're not that free market after all.
And I won't even ask you about the hydroxychloroquine because it's a shame what they've done to that one. But I took it. I took the Z-Pak also, and zinc.
At first I thought his joke was just making fun of himself, but he's actually still trying to push this bullshit. Hydroxychloroquine does not cure coronavirus, and it is needed by some real patients for real things. It's also deadly sometimes.